Good evening to you once again at this hour on the business desk. As you heard in the headlines a short while ago, Markus Jooste is facing more sanction over his role in the Steinhoff corruption scandal where 200 billion rand was lost. The Financial Sector Conduct Authority has imposed a 475 million rand administrative penalty on the former Steinhoff International CEO. Former director Dirk Schreiber was also found to have lied about Steinhoff in financial statements and annual reports. However, the FSCA has entered into a leniency agreement with Schreiber for his cooperation. The FSCA's Unathi Kamlana speaks to us now to expand on this matter. Good evening to you. First, talk us through how you arrived at this particular sanction regarding Mr. Jooste, because it's not the first one, it's a cumulative one.
That's correct. Good evening to Ms. Ang. So we have approached this work in phases. We focused first on Steinhoff International and we concluded that investigation. And the second part of our investigation was on insider trading. And this is the third part of the investigation, which looks at the publishing of false, misleading or deceptive statements. So this is Section 81 of the Financial Markets Act. And we have concluded in that investigation that Mr. Jooste did, in fact, with Mr. Schreiber, publish what is false, misleading or deceptive statements. We focused in the period between 2014 and 2016, those were the financial years, and the half financial year in 2017. So that's the relevant period where we looked into transactions and concluded as we have.
Now, do tell us about this leniency agreement that you have entered into with Mr. Schreiber. On what basis is that taking place?
So the Financial Sector Regulation Act does provide this framework where if we get cooperation and assistance and information from a particular implicated party, we are then able to enter into a leniency agreement with that party. This is what has happened in the case of Mr. Schreiber. He assisted the investigation, provided us with very useful information for us to consider in reaching the conclusion that we have. So that's the basis on which we entered into that agreement with him. So we found him guilty as well in terms of his contraventions of Section 81 of the Financial Markets Act, but we decided to not levy a financial penalty on him.
Are you able to give us detail around the information that has been shared by Mr. Schreiber, particularly on the side of wrongdoing where he himself, Markus Jooste, and maybe others that we don't know about, had a hand to play?
Well, I mean, at the heart of this, and this is contained in the order that we have published, at the heart of this scam is really inflating of revenue, understating cost of sales so that you inflate profits. That's what has happened, that's what we looked at throughout that period. And on the balance sheet side, what that meant was the overstating of the equity or capital base of Steinhoff International. So the information that was provided was to corroborate those facts and to assist us in understanding technically what happened in this company over that period.
Now, of course, the FSCA has a different mandate from that of a prosecutorial level. What's to be said about accountability going even further? And what I'm asking here, with the lack of maybe criminal prosecution in this matter, could there be further sanctions, particularly for Mr. Jooste?
Well, of course, we cannot talk on behalf of the Hawks or the NPA. But we can state publicly that we work very closely with other law enforcement agencies, and we will be providing information and assistance as required in terms of us concluding this part of our investigation. And of course, they'll apply their minds in terms of how they use the information and what they take further in terms of the criminal aspects of this matter.
Out of interest, has the FSCA been in contact with Mr. Jooste? Much has been asked about where is he and is he still in Cape Town?
We cannot, of course, publicly confirm his whereabouts, but we've had to serve on him the order of the penalty, and we did so successfully.
Lastly, it's a big move for the FSCA. I think let's maybe delve into the merits of this case and the gravitas that it holds in terms of reaching that level of accountability that South Africans would want to see on the side of irregularities that are dealt with, particularly with regards to criminal activity in the private sector.
Sure. So of course, I mean, we're not a criminal prosecuting authority, but our focus and mandate is, as it pertains to this, is about the integrity of financial markets. Part of what is very important about that is the ability of investors, lenders, and other types of creditors to rely on financial information that is provided. So this is quite important in terms of the FSCA delivering on that part and aspect of our mandate, and really ensuring that those who are charged with governance outcomes, on whom people really rely to provide them with information, to be able to assess correctly and accurately the performance of underlying companies, that those people really ought to conduct themselves with credibility and integrity. And when rules are broken, as there have been in this case, that there are appropriate consequences for breaking the rules. That's really the kind of message, and really one is hoping for the kind of deterrence that comes from that as the FSA continues to step up in terms of this part of our mandate.
Thank you so much for your contribution. The FSCA's Unathi Kamlana there talking to us about the latest developments, more sanctions on the former Steinhoff CEO Markus Jooste.